Okay, welcome to part 10 of our multi-language adventure game. This is the Lua version today, and we're building on what was done on the video number 8, I think it was, where we just had a kind of a layout class, and we're doing these extra things with this one today. So we're introducing a debug flag, and then writing a player static class, and then setting up the player by getting some input from the user. So the first thing I'll show you is I'll just expand the screen here first, and we'll show you the player. So this one was not, we hadn't done it at all on the last version, so this is new. So it's using the same principle as before. We've got a local player, which is an empty table. We're requiring the shared folder. And then we've got player.name, health, strength, character, a table of characters, a table consisting of the inventory. I've actually added an item in hand here. I don't think we use that. I might need to delete that, but let me just compare with the Python version. Where are we? Player. No, we didn't have an item in hand there. So yeah, let's delete that. So let me just pop the Python one back so that we can do a direct comparison. So we have name, health, strength, character, characters, and inventory. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The Python version, we didn't need to import anything there. We may not need the shared. I don't remember what we need. Anyway, we'll see as we go along. So remember with Lua, because we create an empty table, which is what we're going to return, everything in here is returned inside that table. And so that's why we've got player.name.health.strength, which is completely different to the way it's done in Python, where you just simply put the names of those variables in there. But that means that the whole thing is returned, and we can, of course, change these very easily within whatever class that we pass this player to. All of this can be worked on inside the player class, so it's quite a useful way of doing things. The add to inventory has been set up but nothing put into it. Let's move this out of the way just in case you wanted to copy this line by line. Player display inventory, nothing in it. Then we've got the player display player. We'll go through this in a moment to see how that works. And then we've got this player get property, and that again has been completed. Player remove from inventory, again a blank method here which we haven't used, and then player update stats. So that's the player class, and then we return it at the end. So let's go back to main. There we go. So what we'll do, same as before, is we'll step through this kind of line by line. So the only difference in the main one compared with what it was before is a couple of extra lines up here, I think it is. One thing that I haven't done here, which I think I will do, is just to reset the console. It won't matter in the stepping through because we're running it in the IDE, so this actually makes no difference. I don't clearly want to resize, but if we run it from within Windows by double clicking on it or running it from a command prompt, then this will matter. So let's resize it to 80 by 25. I think that will do. Right, so I've put a stop place here so that we can resize the console and everything will be ignored, and then we'll get to this this shared debug thing will pop up here. So let's just save everything, and then we'll need to expand this window so that we can see the result of what we're doing there. So let's hit the single green button, so that's the debug. There we go. So debug mode is on. Do you want to disable debug mode? That's what this this line up here is saying. Doesn't show up terribly well, but it's line 32. Do you want to? Once I've answered that, it will then clear the console. I don't want to disable it. I want to keep it going, so I'm going to put. Of course, it does work if I press just the enter key. It says just pressing the enter key doesn't work. So let's put N. We don't want to disable it. And we're now up here. We're going about to clear the console. We can step through that with F10, I believe. Oops. Yes, it's done that. Perfect. Okay, then F10 again, and then we're going to go to the game load game. So even though this isn't in a console, it actually cleared it by printing 25 blank lines, which took it just off if I wind this up. So it's not really clearing it, it's just winding this output pane up a bit so that you've got this clear area. So it's a bit of a cheat, but it does work in an IDE. Okay, so we've got console.clear, then we've got the game load game. So let's step into that. So again, it's just going to clear the console, which we've done. Now it's the player, which we'd already set up. We're now giving it some characters, which is a new table consisting of fighter, wizard, ninja, thief. So when I press F10, it won't actually go into the player class. It'll just kind of put that in. So if I press F10, it'll just move down to the next line. But if I hover over the player characters, you can see that they have actually been changed. They were an empty table, I think. Don't think we gave them any. No, just an empty table here. So yeah, so that's actually changed those now. And then we're going to use the display intro, which we went through last time, so that it displays all of the stuff. So what we'll do is I'll click there to the game modify player and let it do that thing there. So if I hit the continue button, so we get this thing showing up, screen clears, and we're ready to go on to modifying the player. So let's F10 into that. There we go. So modify player, we're clearing the console. Then we're going to go through the narrator data, which, as you can see, has got a couple of strings in it. One is I'm the Overlord and I'll help you to find my lost treasure, and the other one is I just need to get to know you before I let you in. So of course you can word those exactly as you please for your game. That's just the message that I put in. So it's going to go through using the iPairs, which is similar to Python's sort of for message in messages type of thing. This is the message in iPairs key value, which we're only using the value, and it's going to print that out, then delay, print it out, delay, and so on, and then it will finally get down to here. So let's let that run. So if I hit the continue button, I'm the Overlord, I'll help you to find my lost treasure, just need to know you, yeah, come on, hurry up. Oh, right, it's done. So we're down at, now we want to get the player's name by using the keyboard library, keyboard here, the get string. So this will guarantee that we are returned a string with title case, a minimum of 2 characters in length and a maximum of 20. And we're passing in the row number, which is irrelevant here because we're in an IDE, not a console, so the row is kind of ignored. So what we'll do is I'll go past that until we get to, we're going to print out the next message. So let's hit the green bar. So it's asking what is my name. If obviously enter, it's just not going to accept it. So we'll put Fred in. And it's now going to print out the messages, which is narrator greeting is hello player name, you are the adventurer destined to find my lost treasure. Let me know your character so you can be awarded your skills. I will step through this because, as you can see, we've got hello, open curly bracket, player.name, close curly bracket. So I need to show you how that works. I might need to actually step in. Let me put the narrator up, and we'll just increase the font. I might need to just put that on there so that it actually does call it. Otherwise, sometimes when you hit F10, it just prints it out and doesn't step into it. So it's a bit flaky, the debugging on Lua. So let's press F10. Okay, so the message that we have sent in is this first one: hello player.name, you're the adventurer destined to find my lost treasure. So what we effectively want to do is to substitute the player's actual name instead of having that open curly brackets. So the way that works is we set this variable start to the finding the message of this sort of inside the message is curly bracket. Now at the moment start is nil because we haven't actually run that yet. So if I press F10, you'll see that start is now set to 7. So if I look at the message, now remember Lua starts with the index at 1, not 0. So this will be different to the Python version. So H of the hello is character 1, and so the curly bracket is on position 7, not 6 as it was in Python. So that's why we found that start to be on character number 7. There it is. The ending we've set to 0, and then it says while the start is not equal nil, because if we didn't find that character in there, start would have been set to -1. To nil. In Python it's -1. If it doesn't find something, it's set to nil. Okay, so while start is not equal to nil, that tilde sign is the equivalent of the exclamation mark in Python, meaning not equal. So we'll go through this one, press F10, and then what we're going to do is to try and extract the contents of what's inside that player.name by going through it to we've already found where the message starts. So begin is the message substring starting at 1 to the length 7 minus 1. So we want 6 characters start, which is 7 minus 1. So 6 characters from starting at character 1 from message, which of course is hello space. So that will give us begin. So if I press F10, you'll see that begin is hello with a space. Ending is message find closed curly bracket. So we'll press F10 again. Ending is 19, so that's found it in message at character 19, which is at the end of player.name. Now the property is the part of the message that has got the whatever's inside the open and close curly brackets, which is player.name, and it's doing that by using the start that we've already found in a sub string, starting at that point there, which is at 8, and ending at 19 minus 1. So it's going to take the characters between 8 and 18, which will give us the message. So if I press F10, then the property that we're wanting is player.name. So if I put that under there, look, player.name is what's been found, and that's exactly what we want. Then the data is the player get property passing in player.name. So we're now going to go back into the player. I'm hoping this will go into the player rather than skipping over it. Yes, it does, which is great. So we're passing it the property name, which is player.name, and then we're going to press F10, and then if the property name find name, in other words, in our property name we've got player.name, if we find name in there, then this will run, which it has indeed. Look, 37 is so it's found it. And what we're going to return is the actual player.name, which is Fred. So this is how we're substituting the real value of a variable into a string that's been possibly even read in from a file, which is why I did all this, is so that we can load our game in from a file when we get to the end of it, rather than just hard coding everything inside. So we're going to return the contents of player.name, and then so the message will now consist of everything kind of blocked together. That's our begin, which is hello, our data, which is Fred, and then our message, or the end of the message, using this, again, this sub string from 19 plus 1 to get to the end. So if we combine them together by pressing F10, and the message I can now read out says, hello Fred, you are the adventurer destined to find my lost treasure. So I just wanted to show you how this little function format message actually works. And then, of course, once we've reached the bottom of it, we're checking again to reload what the value of start is by looking in message to find the open bracket again. Of course, it no longer exists because we have changed our message. So this loop will finish. So if I press F10 again, so it'll check, start is nil, so return the message. So let's press F10 and we come out of there. So now we're going to print that message, sleep, clear the console, and then we're going to check whether the number of characters is, that's hash sign in Lua means get the number of. So that means is the number of elements in player.characters greater than 0, which it is. So again, we'll put that in, untick that, press the, so there we go. So we had a little brief message popped up down here, and it's now checking to see what greeting 2 is. It's going to do exactly the same as it did before, so that we can go through and then print out the next bit of the message. So I'm not going to bother to go through that. It's going to choose, it wants us to use the menu to choose from the player characters. And so if I untick that, press the button here, our menu is now appearing by calling the kb.menu up here, passing to it the title, which is the message from the narrator, which was let me know your character so that you can be awarded your skills, and then passing in the list of player characters and the row number. So we've now got this menu, so it's now asking us to choose our menu. So again, if I press enter, enter key doesn't do anything, so I'm going to choose wizard by pressing 2, and we've now got to line 115 that we have got our choice in, which is 2, and therefore the player character is the player characters list with the index of 2. Now remember, because this is Lua, fighter is 1, wizard is 2. So this, if this was Python, fighter would be 0 and wizard would be 1. So we're using the 1 based indexing of Lua. So I have chosen character choice was 2. So let me just press F10, and then so my player character is wizard. And now we're going to update the statistics in the player class itself. Let me just untick that. So we'll press F10. So this is the player class. If you remember, we were showing you that earlier. So we're now calling this update statistics, and we've passed it. I think I've got a bit of a glitch here. This begin nil shouldn't be there. So update statistics, we've got the character index is 2. So we're going to change the player health, which is currently 100, into player health plus the character index, which is 2 times 2. So we're going to increase it by 4, and then the player health is going to be minus that character index times 2. So we'll reduce it by 4. So if I press F10, there. Then the player health has now been changed to 104 and the player strength 100. What was it before? Oh, yes, it's now 100. Oh, I've made a bit of an error here, haven't I? Look, I've got player health equals player health and player strength equals player health. So that obviously needs to be changed. I can't do it mid flow, so I will alter that when we finish. But you get the idea. You can alter some of the characteristics of your player just by comparing it with the character that they choose. So it's just an example of how to do that. This really doesn't actually make any difference to the game, but obviously don't try and change one with the wrong thing there. So there we go. All right, so that one's done. Let's move out F10 and see where we are now. So we're now checking whether we're shared debug, which we are. That's true. So we're going to clear the console, then do the player display player. So let me, again, just to make sure that that does actually do it, if I come up to the top of player display player, put that in there, go back to our game. Where are we? Main. There we go. And then we'll press the continue button. So we've cleared the screen and we're now going to display the player. So we're going to print out this symbol across the top 60 times. So let's do that now. Press F10. So there we've got a single bar. I think on the Python version I hadn't bothered to change the minus sign into this UTF-8 characters. So I could have just left it as a minus sign and that would have done, but it looks like I've done it a bit better here. And then we're going to print player properties, which we'll do next, and then another bar, which is this one down here, and then characters available. Now in Python we did characters available and just printed out the list of player characters. That won't work in Lua. You have to do a table.concat. The contents of the table, which are fighter, wizard, ninja, thief, and then I have, by putting this in quotes, comma, space, it will join each of those list elements up using a comma and space, which is quite a neat way of doing it. So let's press F10 on there. There we go. So we've got characters available, fighter, wizard, ninja, thief. And then we're going to print another line across. F10 again. So this is a bit annoying, this kind of glitch that's sitting in the middle, but you can, if we can work round it, the next thing we're going to do is the name, health, strength, character, and inventory, again by concatenating the contents of a player inventory, which of course is empty, so that won't produce anything. So let me just put that down there and we'll play them all out. So there we go. That's completed the characters and things in the player's inventory. F10 and back here. F10, and then it's got the enter to continue, so that we can then continue from there. And I think that pretty much brings us to the end. When it's waiting for us to read in that, then it will clear the console, and then it will do this narrator message thing. So I think we'll just take it up to there. Hit that, then I'll press the enter to continue. Okay, so it's got that, then it's going to sleep for a couple of seconds, then clear the console. So this is kind of the next things that were printed out. F10, sleep. Come on. There we go. And then return the player. And so our game has now been modified. So we're just returning true back to the main function. So we've loaded the game. Then, of course, we're, as before, this is exactly the same as last time. We're setting the game state to play and then playing, and that will quit. So let's just step through those. So the game state is set to play. and then play sets it to quit, and because it's quit, the console's now cleared, and we print the end messages out. So let me put that there, untick that, press the play button. Thank you for playing. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe. I have no idea where I got that message from. And then we're checking if it's a console, which it's not, so we will press F10 and it will just straightforward end the program. That's it, all done. So that's the Lua version. So I'll just go through the changes that we made to get this. So we'll stretch that out again to give us maximum room, if I can get it hold of it. No, wrong one. That's better. Right, so the main.lua, the only thing we've changed is I put this console resize in, which doesn't have any effect in the IDE. Then we put this if shared debug. That I don't think is any different to what it was. So that's pretty much the same. The player, I'll just go through that again just to pause it for a few seconds in case you wanted to copy the code rather than downloading it from the GitHub. That's your player. Shared, let me just increase the font on that one. Don't think there's much changed, if any. No, nothing has actually changed in shared, so there's no need to worry because it's quite complicated because of all these additional functions that are kind of already inbuilt in Python and C#. I've just put those in, so there's no real change there. Game, so we've done a couple of things here. We've added the player characters and then we've done game modified player. Otherwise that's pretty much the same. We'd already done display intro. So the only other bit would be this at the bottom, the game modified player. So let me just put that up so you can see that. So that's the first section. And that's the last section. Okay, so narrator I don't think has changed. No, that's the same as it was before. Okay, so that was the Lua version, and that's taken us just under half an hour, so that's about the same as the Python. So next time round is the C#.